Time, we are going to welcome in, presenting our nation's colors, the Boys and Girl Scout troops of El Centro Hispano. They're going to come on in. All right, if we all could salute the flag, and we'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we want to give a great big round of applause for our friends at El Centro Hispano and our Boys and Girl Scout troops. And it's certainly led by Jose Torres and Millie Castro. We have our Boy Scouts and our Girl Scouts and our Brownies and our Daisies, if I remember correctly, on that side. And we have the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts that are there, and everyone is prepared. So again, it is so wonderful to see all of our young folks tonight. Let's give them all a round of applause. Let's all be seated. Tonight that we join with communities across our state and nation to commemorate Hispanic Heritage Month. As we mark yet another observance of this important occasion, we take this opportunity to pay tribute to the history and cultural traditions of our Hispanic countries. The story of Hispanics in America is the story of this great nation in itself. The Hispanic community's values, love of family, abiding faith, and a strong work ethic are our nation's values. Hispanics bring together the rich traditions of communities with century-old roots in America, along with the energy and drive of recent immigrants. Many have endured hardships and have taken great risks to begin a new life here in the United States in the hopes of achieving a better future for themselves and their families. As Hispanics continue to enrich our nation's character and shape our common future, they strengthen this country's promise of a better life for all while affirming the narrative of American unity and progress. Tonight, we have the distinct privilege to honor an outstanding individual and a vital Westchester organization, all involved in the good work of empowering the Hispanic community through education. Sabeda Cruz is the recently retired Vice President of Environmental Justice at the New York State Power Authority, known here as NYPA. Her division supported local events and participated in many community education programs, often working with Power Authority electrical customers. In Yonkers, Ms. Cruz spearheaded a program enlisting nearly 50 NYPA volunteers to assist in the construction efforts for Habitat for Humanity. A recipient of the National Fellow Program, Ms. Cruz also founded 100 Hispanic Women, Inc., a not-for-profit organization dedicated to mentoring, empowering, and advocating for Hispanic women. She is president of the organization's Westchester's chapter. Additionally, as we have seen, we are honoring the Boy and Girl Scout troops sponsored by El Centro Hispano, a community organization that affords Latino families countless opportunities and has been a funding source from Chairman Ryan for several years, and the Board of Legislators has continued that particular tradition. These two Scout troops are bilingual, and their members perform countless hours of community service while learning to become better citizens and participating in cultural events around the county. The Girl Scout troop, one of El Centro Hispano's long-standing programs, had more than 60 children involved last year. The Girl Scouts are led by Millie Castro, and the Boy Scouts are led by Jose Torres, two volunteers who deserve our praise and our thanks. Our collective and wonderfully diverse Hispanic populations have demonstrated tremendous perseverance in order to realize their many accomplishments and achievements. Through their hard work and dedication, Hispanic Americans continue to improve and enrich their own lives and communities and make all of our communities better places to live for people of all backgrounds. I'd be remiss if I did not recognize a few folks that have joined us this evening. First, our great county clerk, the Honorable Tim Idoni. And I saw from the great city of Mount Vernon, the Honorable Council Member Deborah Reynolds. At this time, I would ask Legislator Gordon Burrows and Legislator Virginia Perez to come down as we present a proclamation to Sabeda Cruz. Now, Sabeda is the kind of person, as an individual, as a community activist, and a volunteer, that words could not just describe on the proclamation that we're presenting here tonight, which, by the way, is signed by all the members of the Board of Legislators. For the people that just heard a little bit about Sabeda's activities in what I just read, would not get to the depth of the understanding and her advocacy for our Hispanic community and for people all around Westchester County and the state of New York. Sabeda has been involved not just only in the charter school in the city of Yonkers, which happens to be in my district, right? That's been very successful, but more importantly, with her husband, right? Dr. Edward Laguerre, that has done such a wonderful job there. But more importantly, she continued her outreach. And what I just asked her, was she planning on slowing down in retirement? And as many of you know, that you give the work to the horses, and the people that have been advocates continue to be advocates no matter where they are. Sabeda is that kind of individual. So it is a pleasure for me to present with Legislator Virginia Perez and Legislator Gordon Burrows, the two Hispanic members of our Board of Legislators, the Honorable Sabeda Cruz, this proclamation that resolves that today in Westchester County, October 7th, it will be Sabeda Cruz Day as we recognize Hispanic Heritage Month throughout Westchester County. Congratulations. We'll do the photo up right in the front, and then we're going to speak. Oh, okay.
Good evening and buenas noches. As they said, I have retired. I retired last Friday, and I do not plan to slow up because my community means a lot to me, the Hispanic community. It always has. I come from a strong background of a mother who constantly was telling me, you have to be out there supporting our community, supporting other women. And I think that I'll go to my deathbed supporting my Hispanic community. I want to thank the chairman and the county legislators really for giving me this honor, bestowing this honor on me to call Westchester today Sabeda Cruz Day. This is truly, truly an honor for me. I will continue to work, like I said, in Hispanic groups, the 100 Hispanic women. I will also be part of the Charter School of Educational Excellence, and I'm also going to be taking on a national role with Hispanic women with the League of United Latin American Citizens. And we have a rich history, the Latinos in the United States, and if you have a chance and you can see the PBS Channel 13, Latino Americanos, it would be worth your while because it goes back to things like the Mexican-American War, all these different histories that a lot of people really don't know about, and I think that it's important. And I think that more and more, we as a Hispanic community are realizing that we have to join forces. And it's not about the Mexicans and the Dominicans and the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans. We're all one because we come together under one language, and that's the Spanish language. So that's what we want to do. So quiero decirle que buenas noches. Estoy muy orgullosa y muy en honor que me han dado este homenaje a mí esta noche. Y a los legisladores, estoy orgullosa, estoy retirada, voy a seguir luchando por la comunidad latina en mi ciudad de Yonkers, donde yo vivo. Tengo una escuela de Charter School, de Educational Excellence. También voy a estar con las 100 mujeres hispanas, que soy presidenta, y también voy a estar bregando con una organización nacional. Pero nosotros como latinos tenemos mucho que estar orgullosos. Si ustedes ven en el canal 13, nosotros somos una raza. Toditos hablamos español y eso es lo que nos va a traer como una raza junta para todos. Tenemos música muy bella, comida muy bella y el español más bello que ese lenguaje no hay ninguno. Muchísimas gracias. Good night to everybody and thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sabeda. We know you're not slowing down at all, right? At this time, I would ask the Honorable Bill Ryan, who represents the area for White Plains, to come on down.
Well, welcome to everybody. Well, ¿cómo se dice? Bienvenidos. Bienvenidos. Y buenas noches a todos. This is an exciting night. All the scouts, if you're excited, raise your hand. All right, that's scout. That's right. Legislative eye. Well, you probably were. Okay. Now, I've got to do a couple of things very quickly. So the first thing I want done is very quietly, because there's going to be some pictures taken, I need all of the scouts to come back to where you were positioned before. So just come right back in, and you'll meet right in the middle. I'm going to try to do this just the way it was explained to me, so, all right. Now, fill in, because we're going to let your mothers and fathers and relatives and friends take some photographs, and the board's going to take some. Okay. Like I said, this is a very, very exciting night. It's an important night because tonight the County Board of Legislators, the people that you see out in these chairs, and I know some of you have been here through school, but all of the legislators that you see in the chairs, 17 legislators, represent close to the 1 million people in Westchester County. That's where you live. And in Westchester County, we have once again this year set aside this important day, okay? And you're here when we do this. And this day is set aside to honor everyone in the county that comes from a Hispanic, with a Hispanic background, a Hispanic heritage, who has a very proud history. It doesn't matter what country, you know, your relatives originally came from. You all ended up here in this country, in this great county, and tonight we've set aside this day to honor and recognize everyone in the county of Hispanic heritage. And we focus some well-deserved attention on the rich history of Hispanics and how so many people from different countries have come here over the years and have blended together to make this the wonderful county that it is. You here tonight are in a very important role. We can't have thousands and thousands of people around Westchester here tonight, so you've been especially selected to be here representing your families, your friends, your neighborhoods, this wonderful Hispanic community that you're part of within the bigger overall community of Westchester. And so we like to do this for different people throughout the year, and tonight is your night. So as scouts, it's very important that you understand, you know, exactly what's going on here tonight. So the legislative body has taken an action where it's going to proclaim this in your day, today in your honor. And I'd like to have Jose Torres and Millie Castro come up here for the presentation of a proclamation to the scouts. And I'll give them a moment to get up here if they... Okay, where's Jose? Oh, there's Jose. Okay. You come around, see if you can kind of get through some of the kids here. And what we have is a proclamation that's been signed by all the legislators. I'm not going to read it, but I'm going to hold it up so everybody can see it. And I know this will be able to hang this proudly in the at El Centro Hispano. And as I said, it's signed by all the legislators that are currently in office here in Westchester. And let me go to the most important part. We, the members of the Westchester County Board of Legislators, join our chairman, Ken Jenkins, in honoring the Boys and Girl Scout troops of El Centro Hispano and declare October 7th, that's today, that's tonight, El Centro Hispano Boy and Girl Scout Troops Day in Westchester County. And this I'm going to present to Jose and Millie. Why don't you come on up? Thank you so very much for the great job you do with these young people. Say so, if you'd like to.
Agáchale un poquito.
Hi, I guess you know my name is Millie Castro, and I'm the proud leader of the Girl Scout Troop A003, which has been in force 40 years. And it's like a United Nations. We have girls from all over South and Central America and even the Caribbean. It's a wonderful feeling to see everybody, see all the parents. We wouldn't be able to do it without the parents' support. And of course, Isabel and Judy, who are always there backing us up. Quiero darle muchas gracias por este honor que nos da a la tropa. De verdad que nos sentimos sumamente orgullosos del programa más viejo que tiene el Centro Hispano, 40 años, y counting. Y seguimos adelante. Y si no fuera por el apoyo de todas las madres, todas las otras líderes que también nos ayudan con todas estas niñas, no es fácil, son muchas niñas, pero así seguimos adelante y muy orgullosos nos sentimos de ser hispanas. Las niñas son bilingües, hablan inglés y español. They're all bilingual and proud of it.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you.
Millie mentioned Isabella and Judith. I'd like the board members and anyone who was here tonight on county business, if they could direct their attention over here to my left. You're, I guess, facing me. Your right-hand side of the chamber. Isabel and Judith, could you raise your hand? The Board of Legislators for a number of years, and let me just point out the exceptional job that these two women do, and Isabel Villar, the longtime executive director of El Centro Hispano. Every single legislator, even though they don't represent White Plains, every single legislator in this chamber knows of the work of El Centro Hispano, and for many, many years, they've been a very important contract agency with this county. This is an example of one of the services they provide, and when you look at language and computer science and employment and housing and job training, the list is almost endless of the different things that El Centro Hispano does to assist people in the community that are looking to improve the quality of their lives and their families. So anyway, we're going to take some pictures right down here in front, right, Ken?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and to everyone in the audience, families and friends, you're certainly welcome. Get a good position and take a nice picture of your child.
You want to go behind?
Yeah, that probably is.
Come this way. You're gonna stand behind him because this way you can see.
Stand behind them. Where's no place?
Gordon. Legislator Burrows, would you come down and join us, please? Thank you.
Isabel, Judith, could you make your way down here?
Where's Isabel? Right?
Isabel. Okay, we're gonna get Isabel and Judith in. Come on, right in.
We're good? Okay, waiting for her. Come on.
Okay. All right, step away.
Awesome.
Very good, okay.
All right. You can step this up on the shoulder. Okay, ladies. Oh. Awesome. Good work. Look at you.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
All right, let's give another big round of applause for El Centro Hispano. At this time, while they're getting ready to depart, we will hear a couple of words from acknowledgement from the Honorable Virginia Perez. Virginia.
Thank you. Thank you so much to all of you. Thank you so much to all of you for coming down here tonight and helping us to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. It seems to me, looking at the young boys and the young girls, it feels to me like it was only yesterday when my parents embarked on a great journey and moved our family to this country. And I remember how we tried to learn a new language and to get accustomed to a new culture. And even though we come from different countries of Latin America, we all find comfort in one another as we try to build a home away from home. We have a commonality in every different country, every different culture. It doesn't matter what language you speak. We all come to this country to build the American dream, and we all have to work very hard to make our families and our countries proud. And seeing these children, not only am I proud to be a Hispanic elected official, but I'm proud to actually to represent them and to pave the way for them and to do everything I can in my power to be a positive role model for them. Because in these kids, I actually see the future, and there's no doubt in my mind that they're the ones that will be here in a few short years from today's date, giving proclamations to a new generation. So, thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Perez. We also want to give a round of applause to the wonderful parents and guardians and friends that make sure that the folks get out here. So let's give them a round of applause as well. All right? At this time, that concludes our Hispanic Heritage Month celebration. Let's give another big round of applause for Sabeda Cruz, El Centro Hispano. And remember, legislators, this is actually one of the programs that we fund for several years as an addition to the board, to the county budget. So let's all wait in place, and we will begin our meeting momentarily. And we'll see Sabeda Cruz riding on the trail, by the way, on the South County Trailway and on the North County Trailway when we, fix some of those potholes up there, right? So we don't have any accidents, but Sabeda Cruz is a biker in the Yonkers Bike Club. All right. All right. I call this regular meeting of the Westchester County Board of Legislators to order. If we all could please rise as Legislator Perez leads us in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, give us the strength, courage, and wisdom to always act in the best interest of the people of Westchester while we're in this chamber. Let us keep in mind that every decision that we make impacts upon the life, health, and safety of all our great county residents. Amen. Madam Clerk.
Majority Leader Harcum.
Here.
Minority Leader Mazzano. Ms. Borgia.
Here.
Mr. Burrows. Mr. Gelfarb. Mr. Kaplowitz.
Present.
Ms. Marcotte. Ms. Myers.
Here.
Ms. Perez.
Here.
Mr. Ryan. Ms. Shimsky.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Spreckman. Mr. Testa.
Here.
Ms. Williams. Here. Mr. Williams.
Here.
Mr. Chairman.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Harkam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the consent agenda with the following two suggested revisions. On page 2, item number 1, instead of the Committee on Government Operations, it should go to the Committee on Environment and Energy. And on page 4, item number 12, instead of Committee on Legislation and Government, it should stay with Committee on Legislation, and instead of Government Reform, Efficiency, and Savings, it should go to Government Operations. So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Harkam. Mr. Harkam, just on item number 2, so is it Budget and Appropriations and Environment, or is it Government Operations and Environment?
On page 2, I'm sorry, Mr.
Page 2, number 2, is the environmental resolution for the Bond Act.
What page, sir?
Page 2, I'm sorry. Page 2, item 2.
Page 2, item 2.
It's just environment?
It's page 2, item 1. It's the communication from Legislator Shimsky is just environment and energy.
Okay.
Not budget.
Thank you so much.
Sorry. Thank you.
Mr. Mazzano. Thank you, Mr. Mazzano. Mr. Williams.
I'm in agreement.
Thank you. Members, we're on consent. Mr. Harkam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the meeting minutes of the meeting that was held Monday, September 23rd at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Harkam. Members without objection? So ordered. Madam Clerk, public comment.
Each speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes. I'll call the names of the speakers and ask that you please come down the aisle to my left and wait behind the black ropes. Councilwoman Deborah Reynolds, Regina Riley, Thomas Keller. The first speaker is Councilwoman Deborah Reynolds.
Good evening, County Chair Ken Jenkins and County Legislators. 6 years ago, this legislative body went out to bond for $9.7 million for the renovation of Memorial Field. The major changes Mayor Davis requested in 2012 destroys the original plans, turning Memorial Field into a community park. His request consists of 6 unofficial running lanes, a skateboard park, which is a huge liability, 9 tennis courts, leased and controlled by an outside entity who will generate the revenue for themselves. This is a gross misuse of the county's bonded funds. The comprehensive plan of Mount Vernon states Memorial Field is to be a competitive stadium. An overwhelming number of Mount Vernon residents, coaches, athletic directors throughout Westchester County advised and agreed with me that 8-lane track is needed to have a competitive stadium and the best plan for Memorial Field. Legislator Lyndon Williams is stating, why argue about 6 or 8 lanes when we have a pile of rocks sitting over there? This is an insult to over 1,200 registered voters who signed the petition and want an 8-lane track at Memorial Field. It has been allegedly stated that we can host Empire State games, summer games at Memorial Field on a 6-lane track, which is a high school game. As a former coach and national record holder in track, I know that an 8-lane track at Memorial Field can provide venues like the Junior Olympics, nationals, county competitions, and more. Official events that can generate maximum revenue and maintain the field so the burden does not have to be fallen on the backs of the taxpayers year after year. I carried a referendum that provided the registered voters of Mount Vernon the ability to weigh on what they want at Memorial Field. The proposition read, would you like to have an 8-lane competitive track at Memorial Field? I provided over 1,200 valid signatures to the City Council, the Law Department, and the Board of Elections. Board of Election Chair Reginald Lafayette told me he received a personal opinion from the Law Department of the City of Mount Vernon, which states, a referendum is not state law. Reginald Lafayette will not place the proposition on the November ballot. His doing this took away from the residents' right to vote for what they want in our community. In closing, I am asking this legislative body to continue to stand by the 8-lane competitive track that is included in the original plan for the residents of Mount Vernon who are not able to voice their opinions and have their voices heard. The county provided Mount Vernon $9.7 million to build a state-of-the-art facility, not a community park. My constituents and I hope you will continue to legislate on our behalf. I thank you for all your hard work, and I thank you very much for allowing me to speak to you this evening, and have a good night. Thank you.
Regina Riley.
Okay. We just in general, members of the audience, so we neither clap nor boo for the folks that are speaking. We try to give them our complete undivided attention. Thank you so much. Ms. Riley.
Good evening. My name is Regina Riley from the 9th Legislative District of Westchester. Westchester Coalition for Legal Abortion, PAC, and National Abortion Rights Action League, New York, are supporting Mr. Noam Bramson for county executive. And his great claim to fame, of course, is the supporting of killing fetal children and the scarring of women and families that results from such a killing. Westchester Coalition for Legal Abortion and NARAL are, along with, I believe, Catherine Parker and Rochelle Richards and Mary Jo Jacobs, want the RAP bill, which is the 10th part of the New York Women's Equality Amendment, to be passed. If that happens here in New York, if it happened, rather, in Pennsylvania, Kermit Gosnell, who killed at least one woman and many viable babies by semi-decapitation, would be running free today because the abortion would no longer be considered criminal of what he did. I want you to take a long, hard look at that, legislators, before you start attaching your name, and that being your only claim to fame, for Westchester Coalition for Legal Abortion and NARAL, and, of course, our famous Planned Parenthood. Thank you.
Thomas Keller.
Good evening, BOL. It's been a little more than a month since I was here. I was here the Tuesday after Labor Day, asking you to revisit what Deborah Reynolds has so eloquently described. I gave you a deadline of September 30th. Nothing's happened. I don't have a copy of the Mount Vernon Enquirer with me. That's the public relations arm of the mayor. It's Joe Parisi's paper, but it sets out in 2 pages what the mayor's doing. He's going against the offering circular, which states ABC, the original plan. He's doing XYZ, his own plan. So I'm asking you again, set a date, October 31st or some date, and revisit this and cut off the funds and reclaim the 3.4 that's already been advanced, and do not advance any more of the remaining 6.3 to get to 9.7. Now, I was trying to help Mr. Williams a month ago, but he's gone off in another direction with the mayor and the 4 city council people who originally were for this. They're acting like commissioners of the mayor instead of elected officials. Let's go back to 2007. He wouldn't even be elected if it wasn't for Clinton Young, his buddy. It was a huge turnout of 9,000 people. It was in the Democrat primary. Who turned it out? Clinton Young. And he won an open seat. He beat the Democrat city chair, Sarafa, and Clinton Young had coattails. He was reelected in 2009. In 2011, he didn't have coattails to bring Clinton Young a reelection, so Clinton Young lost. Where's Clinton Young? He and Lyndon Williams own this. Don't you have any self-respect, Mr. Young, Mr. Williams? Fight for the original plan. Now, I'm asking you to do this. The county has frozen the funds. There are contractors coming to the county to get paid because the city doesn't have any more funds to pay them. Where's the 3.4 million gone? And if you don't do it, I'm going to urge the county administration to go into court and sue the city of Mount Vernon, specifically the mayor and the 4 city council people that have gone along with this. You know, philosophically, I don't even agree with legacy funds. But as long as New Rochelle's getting them, Yonkers is getting them, Yorktown, and other communities, Mount Vernon should get them. And I don't personally benefit from Memorial Field. I live in the extreme northeast like Mr. Williams, and we can use the Mount Vernon High School track during the day. Bronxville has lights. Eastchester has lights. My neighborhood has lights to walk or jog. So please adhere to the original plan. He's breaking the law, and the investors could sue the county because of his departure from the offering circular as to what they're going to do. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have no other cards.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Regular order of business.
Under Standing Committees, item 6411 from the Committee on Budget Appropriations is an act authorizing the settlement of the lawsuit entitled Ronald Ackridge versus Westchester County Department of Corrections, Correction Officer Porter et al.
Ms. Myers.
Yes, this is an item that came before the Committee on Budget and Appropriations that asked for the committee's approval of a settlement in this lawsuit, and the committee approved this and sent it to the floor tonight for its approval. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Myers. Members on this item. Madam Clerk, a long roll call vote, please.
Mr. Harkam.
Yes.
Mr. Mazzano.
Yes.
Ms. Borgia.
Yes.
Mr. Burrows.
Yes.
Mr. Gelfarb.
Aye.
Mr. Kaplowitz.
Aye.
Ms. Marcotte. Ms. Myers.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Ms. Shimsky.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Breckman. Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Approved 17-0. Item 6412 from the Committee on Budget Appropriations, an act authorizing the county to continue to retain at county expense the Wicks Group for the provision of outside counsel services related to the county airport by extending the term of the retainer agreement for an additional 1-year term commencing on November 22nd, 2013.
Ms. Myers.
Yes, the airport personnel came before the Budget Appropriations Committee to ask, along with members of our legal department, to ask for the reauthorization, the extension of the contract with the Wicks Group, PLLC, to provide the legal consulting that they have been providing in the past relating to Westchester County Airport. The not-to-exceed amount will remain at $100,000, and this will take us for another year through, actually this takes us for 1 year from last November through this November 21st, 2013, and Budget and Appropriations signed this out for our approval tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. Members on this item. Unless there's objection, members, we'll take the prior long roll call vote for the approval of the item. So ordered.
Approved 17-0. Item 6201 from the Committee on Appointments is the reappointment of Stephen Altieri as a member of the Westchester County Refuse Disposal District Number 1 Advisory Board for the term January 1, 2013 to December 31, 2014.
Ms. Shimsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Altieri has served his committee ably and well, and he comes very well recommended by his peers. The Committee on Appointment, therefore, is supportive of his confirmation here tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Shimsky. Members on this item. Ms. Myers.
Yes, I have to rise on this one. This is the administrator of the town of Mamaroneck, longtime administrator of the town of Mamaroneck, and he is absolutely amazing. And I'm so glad that we will have him serve on this board or commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. Other members? Unless there's objection, members will take the prior long roll call vote for approval of the item. So ordered.
Approved 17-0. Item 6186 from the Committee on Appointments is the appointment of Richard Conrad as the Town of North Castle representative member of the Westchester County Airport Advisory Board for a term to expire December 31st, 2013.
Ms. Shimsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Conrad comes very knowledgeable about the airport business. He's very passionate about airports. He was a joy to interview. And he comes from a community that is greatly affected by the airport. So he really has a combination of skills and interests that will make him a valuable member of this committee, and we therefore urge his approval here tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Shimsky. Members on this item? Unless there's objection, members will take the prior long roll call vote for the approval of the item. So ordered.
Approved 17-0. Item 6419 from the Committee on Government Operations is an act of the Westchester County Board of Legislators adopting a complete streets policy to promote the construction of multiple-use roadways.
Ms. Borgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This act came to us via Legislator Shimsky and through a bunch of advocacy groups. This is mimicking legislation that has been passed on the state level and that several counties and municipalities in New York State are taking up. And basically what it is that it codifies our current practice of always looking at multi-modes of transportation during the construction of any road or bridgeway or any other capital project that could have a transportation element. So it is to ensure that our future planning takes into account the changing transportation needs, that we include things like, where possible, opportunities for walking, bicycling, other types of even public transportation, modes of transportation. And it's smart planning, smart future planning. What we like about this particular act, though, is that after several discussions with advocates, with people from the community college, with people from the disabled community, the schools community, the environmental community, the biking community, that there's a lot of crossover in all of our needs, and what our demographics show us are going to be the future of how people want to exist and live and move around in their community. So this is sort of a codification of a policy that we already do on a routine basis, but it really gives us that opportunity to think about things in a bigger picture way. And I know this bill was co-sponsored by Legislator Shimsky, Legislator Harcum, Legislator A. Williams, and Legislator Myers, and I know that Legislator Shimsky also has a few things she'd like to say about this particular piece of legislation. But the Government Operations Committee spent several meetings, about 4 meetings, I think, altogether reviewing this, and we think it's a great policy. We applaud our Department of Public Works for agreeing that this is something that they do consider and would like to continue to consider in a big picture way as we move forward. They also agreed that the county planning department is and will continue to be a good resource for local municipalities when they're thinking about these types of issues for their local infrastructure projects. So all in all, I think it's a net positive win-win-win for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Borgia. Ms. Shimsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are so many good reasons to bring back our sidewalks and bring back our bike paths, many of which have been decimated with the advent of our automobile-centered communities in the post-World War II generation. One of them is demographics. Younger people prefer deferring the purchase of their first vehicles. They prefer to use mass transportation, and we'd much rather have them text on a bus than text behind the wheel of a car. Senior citizens, their primary issue, according to comprehensive studies done by this county, is transportation. So anything we can do to make it easier for seniors to get around as their driving days begin to wind down is very useful as well. Multimodal transportation helps reduce carbon emissions, which is critical for the environment, and help prevent increased onset of the kind of weather we are having today with tornado warnings. Public health, our generation of children is feared to be the first generation of Americans that will have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. The reason for that primarily is obesity. The easiest way not to become too obese is to walk and use mass transportation. And as a matter of traffic safety, many of our residents are taking matters in their own hands and are walking along roads and riding their bicycles along roads that were not made to accommodate them. And this creates a fair amount of dangers. We all know of fatal accidents in our areas. It's important that we make our roads safe for the way that people are supposed to be using them. The legislation, as noted, involves employing complete street strategies where possible. As we've learned on some other legislation, however, possibility is often in the eye of the beholder, but I think this sends a strong message to the people of this county as well as to our county government that people really want the ability to walk and ride their bicycles in a lot of areas where they cannot now, and I hope that as we improve our roads in the future, we make it safer for them to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shimsky. Members on this item. Mr. Harcum.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very briefly, want to thank all the sponsors of this measure, including Legislator Ryan, and the driving forces behind this bill were legislators Shimsky and Borgia. I want to thank them for their hard work and their vision. Thank the administration, Jay Pisco and his team, who certainly were very helpful in the drafting of this with their input. We've heard the public policy reasons why this makes sense, so I won't go into those again. But I really rise just to reiterate that this is how the process can work in a bipartisan manner for the people of Westchester. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Harcum. Other members? I just do want to also acknowledge and congratulate Ms. Borgia and Ms. Shimsky and Mr. Ryan on this particular piece of legislation that took a lot of hard work and combination and working with the administration to make sure it got done. In addition, we would be remiss if we did not acknowledge the students at Westchester Community College who certainly had a petition that they were working on to get sidewalks, if I recall correctly, along the sides of the road to get back and forth to school from the main thoroughfares where the bus lets them off in a pretty dangerous situation. And certainly, I know May Carpenter has opined on this as well. Commissioner Carpenter, as far as sustainable and livable communities, understands greatly that we have to have sidewalks to get folks back and forth, especially as we age and we need glasses and we lose hair and that kind of thing. So, without objection, members, we'll take the prior long roll call vote for the approval of the item. So ordered.
Approved 17-0. Item 6244 from the Committees on Budget and Appropriations and Government Operations, a resolution to set a public hearing on a local law authorizing the county to consent to a stock transfer from Panorama Flight Service, Inc. to LMUS Corp. Acquisition, doing business as Landmark Aviation, and to amend a lease agreement with Piedmont Hawthorne Aviation, doing business as Landmark Aviation.
Ms. Myers.
Yes, I'd like to set this public hearing on this resolution for, on this lease agreement for October 15th, which I guess is a Tuesday, October 15th, at 7 p.m.
Thank you. Members, just so you're aware, we are setting a public hearing for October 15th, which will be a special meeting at 7 p.m. for the purpose of dealing with this particular piece of legislation, which was done at the request of the administration. Without objection, members, October 15th, 7 p.m., the day after, it would be the 14th, but that is a Columbus Day. Right, so we will not be meeting that evening, but our next scheduled meeting is not until the 28th, and there is sometimes sensitivity according to the administration, and things came together very quickly over the last week. So we appreciate your indulgence of a special meeting at 7 p.m. on October 15th. Without objection, members, so ordered. Motions, resolutions, call of the districts, Madam Clerk. Members. Yeah, I know, I took over for her. You want to say it? Go ahead. No additional, Ms. Marcotte. Absolutely. Gordon, Mr. Burrows, I would be adding my name to Charlie Timlin. Thank you so much. Ms. Spreckman, Ms. Perez. Other members? Members, I just want to bring your attention to some information. I know that we have been working with the administration on this particular item because it was not a public meeting. The public may not be aware that there was a recent meeting specifically on Memorial Field with the administration where specific questions were asked from the administration, from the Board of Legislators, both on accounting, on how this particular project is progressing. And I know that there is a, once we gather that information, then there will be some additional public discussion so people understand. However, just in the note of our act that we passed, which was Act 2010, number 5050, which was adopted on May 10th in 2010. The exact language that is in it is very telling in this particular scenario on the request, because in the request, it simply states a new all-weather track. That is what is in the Bond Act that was adopted by this board. And for clarification, it has not been sold, so there could not be an offering plan at this time. So where we are at this particular time is we are working with the administration as they work with the city of Mount Vernon on their intermunicipal agreement. There was flexibility built into it because of things like cost and potential cost overruns, so that there would be the flexibility for the city of Mount Vernon to work within a guideline. So just want to make sure that we have that clear on the record. There has not been a bond sale. There is no offering plan, and the track that is that was bonded by this board says a new all-weather track, period, no number of lanes. With that, if we could please rise and observe a moment of silence for those listed in the memorial resolutions. Mr. Harcum.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, I move that we adjourn and reconvene at our special meeting on October 15th at 7 p.m.
Mr. Mazzano. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Harcum? Yes. Mr. Mazzano? Mr. Williams? Yes. Mr. Chairman?
Yes. On the motion of Mr. Harcum, the board stands adjourned.